We are live. How's the sound? Sound okay? Need to check because a few internet problems, so audio went down for a minute. So am I sounding okay? DJ, let me know. Nobody's answering. Chat's gone down to 1. I'll just add Griffin anyway because he might know I'm sounding okay. Griffin, you're muted, I think. Griffin is muted. Okay, sounds good. Cheers, Dan. Griffin has muted himself by the looks of it.
Hello.
Oh, there you are. How you going, man?
It's going okay. I just forgot to change my laundry.
That's all right, man. I mean, I was supposed to start 10 minutes early, but I was just running around trying to get stuff done. And I know it's like 25 past midnight where I am, but yeah. I mean, I thought when I got the message off you, I thought, I'll do it. Let's just get it. Let's do it. But I was obviously like, I had to try and organize, make a few notes and stuff and put it on StreamYard and start putting a few tweets out. I get like, so somebody called Dave Weasel on Twitter liked my tweet to say I was going live. He's got 525,000 subscribers. Followers on Twitter.
Oh, really?
So I was like, oh my God, this is a big deal. But then I looked at his profile, and he's following 101,000 people.
Oh.
So I don't know if it's some sort of like just
follow back.
Yeah, it must be, because I thought if he's following 100, how is it even possible to follow 101,000 people and like my little tweet? Surely not. But you know, it is what it is. Hopefully, a few people saw that tweet anyway. Maybe I'll gain a few subscribers from it. But how's it been going, man? Okay.
Yeah, it's going okay. See,
so I suppose
my icon's not show up on the stream here on the channel.
Yeah.
All right, fine. Screw it. I'll go. Okay. I'll put the cam on. All right, there we go.
All right. No. I have seen you before, like, but you know, it's been a while. I'm used to wear you. I'm used to you wearing a pair of glasses.
Oh, you want me to wear some glasses?
You don't have to. I like it's more personal when you can see someone's eyes. You know, sometimes when it's a pair of shades.
You can't see Michael's eyes in most of the movies.
So let's get to the inevitable question. Have you seen Halloween Kills?
Nope.
No.
I haven't seen it. But we're not talking about that film.
Well, we're not. I just wanted to get that out the way.
Oh.
It's all anyone's been talking about on Twitter and YouTube, and especially in our sort of circle. You know, seems to be a lot of mixed opinions. Mainly, some people hate it, some people love it, some people in the middle. I'm kind of in the middle. I know Dan hated it. I mean, I actually think it's a better film than 2018 because I just think it's. I think it's a more. I just don't think it's as boring as 2018. It's got its issues, but I think it's a more exciting film. But there's a lot of problems with it, you know. But it
Speaking
is
of
what it
which,
is.
Dan, get on here.
I'm waiting for Dan to join one of my live streams. He's always in the chat, but I just waiting for him to
Get
join.
your hiney in here and discuss Halloween with us. We need the expert. We need the real expert.
Yeah, because I mean, I love the franchise, but there'd be people in the chat thinking, "Oh, I know far more than he does," and they'd be right.
Yeah, they will.
Because
especially me.
yeah. Well, that's what it's good that you're on board then, because you can correct any mistakes I've made, and you can really go.
No. You're the expert.
Oh no! Oh no! I mean, I'm a fan, but like compared to some people in the community, they just know. I mean, I know a lot of the main shit. When it comes down to like the real sort of like nitty gritty of it, I'm just like completely lost. A lot, especially when it comes to the Fawn trilogy. I'm kind of just, I'm not really down. I'm not really deep into the whole cult and the whole backstory. Because there's a lot of stuff to the whole Fawn trilogy, which is like maybe goes beyond the films. And like there's producers cuts and stuff, and I've never even seen the producer's cut of Halloween 6 because I don't like to see. If I like a film, I can really like it. I prefer to stick with the original version and not get it sort of like, it's a bit like Donnie Darko. Donnie Darko is one of my favorite films of all time, and the director's cut, I think it was a director's cut where it added stuff and it took away the mystique of the film a bit. I never want to see that film because I like to stick with what the original version of it, and I don't want it to be explained too much to me, So, but I mean, I'm not comparing Halloween 4 to Donnie Darko, obviously. And as much as I love Halloween 4, it's not really on the same level as Donnie Darko, but I do like it. But quick shout out, Ben's in the chat as well. Dan obviously is in the chat. DJ, what's up, man? Good to see everyone on board. And thanks to everyone who tuned in on Friday for the Halloween kills. That was like, I think we had 11 people in the chat at one point, which is for a channel with 47 subscribers. That's pretty fucking insane. But I guess Halloween kills, you put that in the title, people are going to jump on. Everyone's got something to say about it.
Everybody wants to know what else everyone else is thinking.
Yeah.
All right, so how you want to do this?
I mean, I've made my. Yeah, we'll just literally. We'll just. I've made some notes. It's just we'll just take it each film from 1 to 8, and we'll just talk about our memories of it. Our thoughts on where it stands, and I'm not going to rank the films, but where you sort of where it stands for you amongst the sort of the series, and how you
just
sort of
we're just comparing to the rest of the whole series itself, or like
not ignoring it. No, just amongst the series itself. In terms of like, so. I mean, I'm not saying don't have to give it a ranking, but just as we're discussing it, just you can just say where you'd put it in. I've gone off. Okay, I don't know what happened there.
We go. Some internet.
I don't understand. My internet is
goes great, then it goes terrible.
I can still hear you. Yeah, I can still hear you.
Yeah, I can still hear you. It's just kind of end. Let's see if this works.
You know what? I'm going to plug the Ethernet lead in. Okay, give me 2 seconds.
All right.
Because I'm literally going through wireless at the minute, so I'm going to try and plug in the Ethernet cable in. So just give me a minute.
Give us stability. Yeah, Last Night in Soho. That looks good. Dune. I don't know if I'll see that in the theater. I don't know. Maybe. It'll probably be empty. I got a lot of great stories about seeing Blade Runner 2049 in the theater. He's found the internet cable.
There we go. Hopefully that's a little bit.
All right.
I don't really understand how I've got the router's right by the computer, so I don't know why I have internet. Anyway, yes. So
All right. All right.
Let's just get this thing going.
All right. So was
let's-
Halloween your first John Carpenter film? Was the first film you ever saw by him?
It was. Ooh, I think it was. I think so. It was definitely the first Halloween film I saw, as in Halloween 1. I didn't. It was the first. That was the first in the series I saw. That was in about 1988. So it probably was the first John Carpenter film I saw. But I vividly remember. So I'll just go back. I think I'll go back to I'll ask you in a second. To recall your memories of the first film. But for me, it was about 1988, 89. It was just on the TV. I think it was on BBC, BBC One, which is the main sort of TV station in the UK. This is before satellite TV. We literally there was 4 TV stations in the UK at that time, and it was on about 10:30 at night. And I knew about the franchise. I knew about the Halloween films, but I was still quite young to be sort of. I mean, I couldn't really access that much in terms of VHS stuff because, A, I didn't know what were decent movies to watch, and B, my mum was quite strict in terms of letting me watch, because obviously anything in the UK that had 18 on the box meant it was suitable only for 18 years and over. So if I went to video store and I was like, I want to watch that film, it's big number 18 with red background, she'd be like, oh no, you're too young for that. And she was like that for a couple of years, but she sort of, by the time I got to 13, 14, she kind of just sort of relented and just let me watch pretty much whatever I wanted. But yeah, so Halloween was on just normal TV. I remember watching it and just remember being blown away by it. I remember being absolutely terrified by it. I had nightmares for a long time after watching the film, because it was just so unlike watching an Elm Street film with Freddy is there's someone who invades your dreams. As someone who's 13, you realize that's not possible. It's not feasible. But just a guy who can wander around a neighborhood and break into someone's house and stab them to death, that is something that's entirely, it could happen. It's unlikely, but it could happen. And just the whole aspect, the way he moved around and his mask and the way it was shot, I just fell in love with the film. And it's, to this day, it's still, in my opinion, the greatest horror film ever made.
Well, it was not my first Carpenter film. My first Carpenter film was Christine. I saw Christine on television. I saw Christine and Starman were my first two. I don't think I saw Halloween. The original Halloween was not the first one I ever saw either. The first one I saw was H2O. I did not see the original Halloween till probably a few years after Resurrection, around 2005. I didn't really see it right away. I saw it, and it's a great film. I love Carpenter in general. It's a great film. It's very well shot. It's beautiful. It's a gorgeous looking film. For how cheap it was, it's really beautiful looking.
Yeah, $300,000, and it made $70 million.
Oh yeah.
So massive. It was the most successful independent film, I think, until Blair Witch Project. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yep. That's
I
true.
think so. I
That's
mean, it
correct.
might not be. It was certainly. It was a long,
Yeah.
long time.
Yeah, that's correct. Carpenter himself was talking about that. And I like how the film, like how it looks. I love the sound. The score is amazing.
Yeah, the score definitely is just not the main themes alone, but just the additional score throughout the film. It's just perfect. Like there aren't many what I say jump scares. It's a more intelligent film than that, but where there is
There-
a jump scare, that the way that sound kicks in, it's a really effective.
yeah, it doesn't lean heavy into jump scares. Not
It's always a lot of the time. It's you anticipating a jump scare that never happens. Particularly, the scene where in where she's changing her clothes.
mm-hmm.
That whole build up, and then she gets in the car. You're expecting something before that, which never happens, and it's only when
which
she gets in the car.
which you constantly see him in the background when
Yeah,
she's
and
doing
obviously,
that.
yeah, and you see the dog. Obviously, the dog starts barking, but
Oh, never
you,
mind. He stopped barking now.
yeah,
I could quote whatchamacallit quite often. Hey,
Christians,
speed
Chris,
kills.
yeah, I love that scene. What's up,
Yeah.
Christian? Christian jumped on for a second. What's up,
Uh-oh.
man?
He's here to inspect us.
Just the fact that somebody with 10,000 subscribers would take the time to jump on my channel is
He's inspecting us.
just,
See how what we're saying about the original OG.
yeah, yeah. I mean, the whole, I mean, there's a really good point made, and I don't really want to bring the new film into it. I will say about the new film that the score is amazing. The opening theme is the best theme there's ever. I'd say it's even better than the original. It's absolutely amazing, especially on a big screen in the cinema. It's so good. Um, oh, thanks, man. Do appreciate that. I really do, especially coming from you, man.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, if Chris, I'd like to. I know Christian's opinion of. I think he may have actually. Oh, I can't remember. I think it was Nick off Lost River Drive, and I replied to, not Christian,
Oh yeah.
but he made a point about talking about. He was talking about Halloween Kills, and I just replied. I said, the theme tune for Halloween Kills is just amazing. It just, and especially if you watch it on a big screen, it's just so good. And the opening 10 minutes of Halloween Kills, and I won't carry on about this, but the opening 10 minutes of Halloween Kills is fantastic. The following 80 minutes just can't live up to that. And I'm not to say it's not a terrible film, but it's got issues. But yeah, like I've lost my train of thought now. But going back to the original film, I think I think it was Laura who made a really good point about in the original film, he only targets like the victims are people who either A directly got in his way. He needed to get so you take into account, he needed to change of clothes. So he
Mm-hmm.
killed the guy and he
Yep.
changed into his overalls. After that, it's three girls who, I say speed kills, he stops. He's already targeted Lottie because she was at the house, at the Myers
Yeah.
house.
Dropping off the key.
Yeah. So he focuses on her. Then obviously the other two, they're there as well when he's at that moment with the speed kills and he stops. So then they're a focal point. And it's like anybody else is kind of just like irrelevant to him.
Yeah.
You could say Tommy because Tommy was with Annie, not with Annie, with Laurie. When he dropped the keys off, and he follows him for a little bit, but it really is just a case of if you have a direct interaction with him, he will not even necessarily go after you. He'll maybe follow you, but in later films down the line, it's just a case of just random people just get killed for absolutely no reason, and I think that's one of the reasons why later sequels, it was just, it was a case of just like more blood, more gore, more kills, and less suspense. And I think that's one of the issues with maybe a lot. So one of the issues I think with people have with the new films is that because it's meant to be a direct sequel, that's obviously kills in 2018. They're meant to be a direct sequel to Halloween 1. 2 to 8 don't exist. So it's kind of like, why is this character behaving with all the character traits of the Michael Myers from 2, 4, 5, and 6? You know, so I think the stripped back Michael Myers of the original film, it can't be beaten. And, you know, like I say, with Michael Myers as a character, the more you try to explain who he is, the mystery, you know, you take away the mystery, so it becomes less and less of a scary character. To the point by the cult of by the Fallen trilogy, he's lost.
We're jumping the gun. We're jumping the gun. All right,
we're jumping the gun. We're sticking
to
one.
Let's stick to the original. So, yeah, he's basically, you know, he's we'll do armchair psychology, I guess. But he's a judgmental character. He's very judgmental. Like, he doesn't like that his sister is having sex with someone in the beginning, and he's judgmental of the girls.
Very quick sex.
Very quick, but we got a deadline. We got a runtime to hit. But, you know, he's very judgmental. He also is a lot of people don't mention this. I don't know why, but he's a prankster. He's a prankster. Like, he's always setting up stuff, like with the whole wearing the ghost bedsheet, putting the glasses on.
But that never felt strange either. It should have felt odd. But somehow it worked. Well, I don't really know how it worked.
It's because he's got a childlike view of the world. He doesn't fully understand the world. So he thinks, you know, I'm going to scare them. They're going to be really scared by this. That's what he's really thinking. He's just thinking about, you know, scaring people. And it's probably like he has like a zero sense of what's the empathy. And that's why he thinks, you know, stabbing his sister wouldn't really do anything. He probably didn't even think that would hurt her. He thought it probably would just like kind of scare her, but it ended up killing her. So he's just kind of like, he has no empathy. So going a little bit deeper, psychological, you know, but there's really no reason. That's what's great about it. But there's that weird mystery part of like, does he know this is wrong? Does he have any idea? Because there are those people out there who not wired the same. They don't have that sense of morality. They have no morality.
I think the thing I love about the original film as well is just it's the slow build up of him as a character. Like you see him briefly at the beginning jumping over the car. You see his hand, and then you know you start to see him just from a distance with the mask. But you can't even quite make out whether it's a mask. It just looks like someone with a white face, and you have to really sort of squint. You're like, what is that? And you know, when he's driving past in the car, you can barely make out his face. Something looks a bit off. And obviously, by the time he stands in, you know, the infamous scene with Laurie when he stood by the hedge and he just walks away. The way he just disappears, that really emphasizes this. He's like a ghost-like character, and especially the scene where she's in the bedroom and she looks out of the window and he's by the washing line, and she blinks almost, or look, and the camera pans back and goes back, and he's gone.
Yeah,
and it makes you question
Was he really
And
there?
she's questioning, like, did I really see that? And you sort of question, is she
Is she going
imagining
crazy?
that? Yeah, is she going crazy? Or did she actually see something? It's just the way it builds up. It's so good.
Yeah, that's Carpenter's specialty. Even like films like Prince of Darkness, you just have the hobos all standing around the church, just staring.
Yeah.
And then he loves that creepy, like characters just kind of wandering, like they're just standing out in the distance watching. Like is that you see that in Assault on Precinct 13, you see that in Prince of Darkness, you see that in Escape from New York. Uh see, you see in most of his films. They live the freaking cops. The cops in
Yeah.
they live, they walk just like Michael Myers. They like when they're going to take down the hobo village, the camp, the hobo camp. Like the way they kind of march single file. It's creepy. Carper's got that creepiness down.
I think without, obviously talking about like Halloween, but without mentioning Donald Pleasant's cat role in the film, how much of an impact would that have had on the film if he hadn't taken that role? Because they needed someone
With some
like,
gravitas.
yeah, some gravitas, because you're talking about a young cast who never acted before,
Mm-hmm.
well, or maybe to like a certain level, but certainly not. I think was it Jamie Lee Curtis's first film? I'm not sure. I think it might. She was only
First
20, I think.
film. I think it was
She was
first film, but she did an episode of The Love Boat before.
Yeah.
I believe that was her
She,
first acting job.
I'm sure she was
I
like
could be wrong.
18 when she did
Yeah,
Halloween.
yeah.
So to get somebody in of Donald Pleasant's, stature was obviously, a big deal for someone like John Carpenter. I mean, I think he, with a budget of $300,000, I think Donald Pleasance basically took up a fair amount of that budget. He was certainly on a lot more money than the rest of the cast, that's for sure. And I think he
Mm-hmm.
was only around. I think he did most of his shooting in a few days compared to the rest of the filming that went on, because obviously he was like obviously a busy man, and he obviously turned up and said, I'm not sure saying he wasn't invested in the film, but it was a case of you've got me for a certain amount of time, you know use my time wisely, because I can't be here for like 4 to 5 weeks. And it's like, I think they just make the scenes that he was in was all crammed together fairly tightly. And
There's an interview. Anyone can find this on YouTube. It's a great where they're shooting the original Halloween, and they've got John Carpenter does an interview, Donald Pleasance, and it's a great behind the scenes. And Donald Pleasance kind of mentions how he's not used to this kind of direction, but
yeah,
he's an ultra professional. He was incredibly professional. He didn't complain. But I would recommend anyone watching this to go watch that behind the scenes. It was a British English news company, and they were talking to him about the film and what his influences were, and what does he think of recent films.
yeah.
He has some pretty scathing words to say about director Robert Altman. But no, Donald Pleasance is great. He's part of the reason why, because he's a hype man. He builds up Michael's, he builds up his legend. He builds up the myth to everybody, to the police, to Sheriff Brackett. He's constantly building. And
I mean, I was gonna say, without Donald Pleasance, without Loomis there to like some of the best scenes, obviously the speech he makes in his house to Brackett, and obviously the very beginning of the film when he says like, don't underestimate it. He just refers to Michael as it rather than even him. It's like, it's from the very beginning. You're right. He's hyping us. You think, who is this character now? He's obviously he's must be seriously like deranged.
Yeah, the way he speaks, he calls him evil.
Yeah, and he
Evil's
says
God.
the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes, and it's by the time. Well, I mean, he throughout the film he's hyping him up, but so by the end of the film, you're under no illusion that this is not like a normal human being. And obviously with the final, shoots him five or six times, is it? Six times.
6 times in the heart.
Yeah.
I fired him. I shot him at 6 times in the heart. He's not a heart. And he reaffirms Jamie Lee Curtis, who's like distressed, at the very end of the film after she's defended herself and the children. Everybody else has gotten killed. I know everybody's seen this film, but he reaffirms for her. She goes, "Was that the boogeyman?" He goes, "As a matter of fact, it was."
Yeah.
So he's all totally in the belief that this is supernatural and not a natural thing whatsoever.
It's the way she emphasizes as well. She goes, "That was the boogeyman," because they've been talking about it with the kids, with Tommy and earlier on, and she was basically dismissing any idea that the boogeyman was a real thing. And it's just it's a nice touch at the end. It's like she turns to him and says, that was the boogeyman. Like, he is real. That they were right, even though they were talking about a fictitious character, he really does exist. And, she was attacked by him that night. I mean, only a couple of issues I've got with the film is, and it's a trope that is common amongst horror, especially in them days. It's just turning your back on somebody you've just maybe put out of action, and she just turns her back a couple of times. And I would just be out the house in an instant. I wouldn't stop and just like lean against the wall and just start crying if a crazed masked killer had tried to kill me. I would just be out of there. And she does that. I think she does that twice in the space of like 5 minutes. Literally, she's put the coat hanger in his eye, and I think she does it again, doesn't she?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
he's throwing away that knife.
Yeah, that's one of the issues. I think that's maybe one of the in Scream when Neve Campbell's saying about how the killer will chase someone up the stairs. Why aren't they running out of the front door? It's, I think maybe a slight reference to something like Halloween, but that's two very, very minor issues with that film. Maybe three, but it's as close to a perfect horror film as you can get, I think. But
all right, you want to move on to the second film?
Let's go on to 2, directed by Rick Rosenthal. John Carpenter. I don't think he was approached to do 2, and he didn't want to do it.
No, he had no interest. He wanted to direct Escape from New York. Well, Escape from New York at the time. Yeah, that's what he was doing.
He had some involvement, I think, in some of the screenplay, maybe.
Screenplay. Him and Deborah Hill came back to screenplay and produced the film. We forgot to mention Deborah Hill. Deborah Hill was an instrumental part in casting Jamie Lee Curtis and Donald Pleasance. She was a pretty big instrumental in that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Gave the female voice to for the characters to make it seem more authentic. Because now you have films being written by you have teenage girls dialogue being written by 50-year-old men, a la what was that? What was that Slender Man movie?
I've never seen it.
Yeah,
I want to see it.
I hadn't seen it either, but I just remember seeing the facts like, this is a 50-year-old man writing teenage girl dialogue. What the hell is going on here?
Yeah. Dan says 2 proves you can have cool kills along with great suspense. 2's kind of like I will say it made 2.5 million. It cost 2.5 million, so massive jump up from the original film, but only made $25 million. So obviously still made a fair bit of money, but nothing like the original film. And you see as the films go on, you see an eventually just more and more of a drop off in terms of takings. But yeah, so directed by Rick Rosenthal. Obviously, this is an issue for some people. It's rather like Halloween Kills. Laurie Strode is in the film briefly, but not too much. And the main focus is mainly on like Loomis and trying to track down Michael, and obviously the supporting players.
The hospital staff.
Yeah, the very, very empty hospital where nobody works.
Yeah,
And it's a bit. And I always thought it was like a fairly big hospital for like. Was it ever established how big Haddonfield was in terms of like population? Because I always imagine it to be like it was like a small town. But I mean, the hospital seems fairly large for like a small town. And in Halloween Kills, I don't keep going back to it, but the hospital in Halloween Kills, it's like 10 stories high. It's like it's enormous. But yeah, it's one of the things one of the issues I do have with Halloween Kills is I do love not Halloween Kills, sorry, Halloween 2, sorry.
Halloween 2.
Halloween 2. I've got Halloween Kills on the brain.
I know, right?
Halloween
This is the real sequel.
Yeah, exactly. It is. But one of the issues is Dick Warlock as Michael Myers. He's almost, I think he's slightly too robotic, too stiff. I love the mask. The mask is just on point. The mask is fantastic.
It's the original mask.
Yeah. Hasn't it been like left underneath like a bed or something for 3 years?
Yeah, Deborah Hill's bed.
Yeah.
Deborah Hill's bed.
It looked so good. It looked really good. But Dick Warlock, to me, he's just. I mean, I still place him above some of the other Michaels, but I think his walk is so slow. It's almost like comical at times, especially towards the end when he's walking towards Laurie and he's got like the is it like the small like the syringe type, and he's just walking. I think she's getting in the lift, and the lift's about to close, and he doesn't speed up whatsoever, and he's just
it's for the suspense. It's for the suspense.
Yeah, but it's just so. I mean it's a minor fault. I mean, I still prefer Dick Warlock over. Certainly the guy who's in H2O. I can't remember his name, escapes me. But yeah, that was a major issue. I love the continuity of the two, though. I do love the fact that it takes place directly after the original film, and because it's only 3 years apart, there's no noticeable. I mean, Laurie obviously is. I think was she wearing a wig?
Yeah,
she's wearing a wig. Yeah, because she'd gone to film, do other stuff, and she'd cut her hair, but it's not. She's at an age where it's not noticeable that she's 3 years older. She was, 18, 19 at the first film. And obviously Loomis is not going to look any older because he was getting on in age by then anyway. Sheriff Brackett's not going to look any older. But in terms of like this film, one of the opening scenes, he's just, it's the new Michael who doesn't care who he targets, and he obviously goes into.
But he ignores people. He ignores a lot of people in this.
Yeah.
The old couple, the kid he bumps into with the boombox.
But it makes you wonder why towards the opening of the film, the kill, when you really get a look at his eyes, and he just slices the throat.
Oh, the woman, the girl, she's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't like that.
It's that judgmental aspect of towards young women. It's like he almost sees like all of his victims as his sister or as the boyfriend.
Yeah,
that was in the original film, the opening.
Oh, if I remember rightly, that kill as well, it kind of zooms in on his eyes as he's killing her. And it's if I remember rightly, you kind of get like an emphasis on his eyes and like a look of like anger. And I didn't really like that because it kind of maybe
tips a hand towards he has emotions instead of being emotionless machine.
Exactly. Yeah.
Even though he walks like a machine in this.
Yeah, he looks like more like the Terminator. But
I
yeah,
guess you could say he's just pissed off that he wasn't able to accomplish his kill or his whatever his ritual against Lori. It's not really specifically because in the original they weren't brother and sister, but now they are. Twist, twist,
yeah.
twist. But he's
I,
pissed off. But that tips the people. A lot of people have that myth of Michael is just a soulless, you know, killing machine. He has no emotion. Whereas in this, we see a little emotion.
yeah, and it's as obviously with this introduction of Lottie being a sister, that explains it goes to try and explain why he does what he does, which that's the whole purpose of like, was going back to what we're saying about, once you start revealing more about him as a character, you take away some of that mystery. And if you then say, well, this is his sister and this is why he did it, once you give a motive to someone doing these crimes, it just takes away, doesn't it, from like that sort of like
Yeah.
the scare, the randomness, the randomness of his crimes.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously he's like, say, well, obviously, so in the original film, he was targeting these girls because they were friends of Laurie, and then ultimately, Laurie was going to be the final victim. So
Or
that's
was
why
she?
yeah, maybe. I try and look at Halloween 1 without taking the sequels into context, because
Yeah.
that's the way John Carpenter envisioned it. And obviously this was not, he didn't want to go down this route, did he, with the whole
No.
brother sister
No.
angle. So
This was the studio and the other producers wanted to make, because the first one was such a huge hit. They're like, we got to pump another one out. Got to get something else out there. And Carpenter's just like, I'm doing the Fog and Escape from New York. I don't. But he was on board enough because they gave him. Honestly, they probably gave him enough money. He's probably like, okay, I'll do the score and I'll write it and I'll produce it. That's it.
yeah,
And they're like, oh, okay, yeah. So this is it. This is an interesting one, but the direction's pretty good. It's not as great as the first one. It's definitely it looks incredible. It's still got that Dean Cunding cinematography. It's absolutely gorgeous. The score is great. Donald
yeah.
Pleasance is a little bit more eccentric in this one. I mean, you could
This one.
he
Not
was
as
he
much
was
as not as much as 5.
yeah, or it's an escalation, slow escalation. But yeah, he's a lot more frantic in this film. And I enjoy the hospital stuff. I enjoyed like the what was that? What's his name from Lance what's his name? Lance from the last Starfighter. I
Oh,
can't remember.
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, Dan knows. Dan's a man. He knows what he's talking about. But yeah, I like the hospital setting. I thought it was good. I thought it was creepy, nice, eerie. Hospitals in general are pretty creepy. They've been
Yeah,
mined
definitely.
plenty enough for horror video games. Love using hospitals.
Yeah.
I like
Um,
like I said, I like the setting. I like that's kind of go. They find another area to go. I'm not huge on the brother sister thing. I know a lot of people are going to hate that, but I'm not huge on the brother and sister. I didn't mind that he was good. I didn't really need a reason why he. To me, the reason why is because he hadn't finished what he started from the previous film. That's all. That's all we needed. That's all we needed for an explanation. He just didn't finish what he started with
it's
killing
it's
all the people that he imprinted on him that he saw. So he's like, I gotta finish this one off. But since the brother and sister, that's my biggest gripe with this film is the whole familial thing. I think that's it
two
robs the mystery.
two as well is the first mention of like Sam Hain as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, again, that's just
Feel
bringing
more
that into it.
supernatural.
Yeah, bringing that into it is kind of like, well, you're starting to try and explain stuff now. Oh, this is, it's just, and you just don't know, stay away. Well, for the series to progress, obviously we're going to have to do something.
Yeah.
But as I say, you're constantly taking away the mystique of the character. But one of the best scenes in the film, though, is obviously the infamous Ben Tramer scene, where they explode in Ben Tramer. I'm still not entirely sure how he blew up. I mean, if a police car hits someone, I don't see how he's just.
Oh man, what did they give him? And what kind of candy were they giving out that night?
I know. Well,
Petrol filled.
he's still alive, and if you take it into account the new series, the new timeline, Ben Tramer's still alive.
Oh god.
So, Lance Guest was the name of the actor.
There you go. Thanks, Dan.
Yeah, Dan knows.
Always can count on him.
Yeah. So let's.
Good film. I like how they wrapped it up. I love the conclusion of this film. I think the conclusion. Oh, hey, Anthony.
Hey, Anthony.
I love the climax of this film with Laurie, Loomis, and Michael all in the with the respirators.
Yeah.
That was a great scene. I love you just hearing him. He gets his eyes shot out, and he's
the blood coming down the mask.
Yeah, that was a great visual, and then him keeps slashing constantly. And I love that juxtaposition of the air coming out of the respirators, the cans. I think that was great. And then Loomis is pretty much given into madness. He's just like, okay, I'm taking you out. This is the only way it's going to happen. Sacrifices himself.
Yeah, Loomis just at that point has realised that there's no hope for Michael, and Laurie's obviously a young girl. You get out. I'm an old man. I'm going to sacrifice my life to protect you.
I could tame the beast.
Yeah, but it's also it's a good finale to the whole. If you were to end it at 2, it would be a nice end. It's like Michael is something more. He's something more than man.
Yeah,
but he's not enough to survive that sort of explosion.
I know, right?
You're still left wondering what was he, without giving away too much. Do you know what I mean? So as you go on into later films, it just becomes more and more ridiculous.
Yes, we haven't gotten there yet, but some people think the next one is ridiculous, and that is Season of the Witch.
Yeah, Halloween 3. Now, if you, I know you were in my stream on Friday, and I kept on referring to Tommy Doyle as Tommy Wallace. I was watching.
Wallace.
Tommy Wallace directed Halloween 3.
Promoted to director. He was production design on the previous 2 films, I believe. Nope, he was production design on the original, and then he did. I don't know if he was production design on Halloween 2. I know he was asked to direct Halloween 2, but he said he didn't have any interest.
Yeah.
But now he's back. Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. The Tom Atkins. We got Tom Atkins up in here.
Yeah. The legend.
All that crap. All that horror crap.
So this cost 2.5 million, the same as Halloween 2. This made 14 million. So again, $11 million drop off from part 2. So you can see a steady decline. It was set in Northern California. Obviously, the town was not a real town, I'm sure. Santa Mira, obviously not a real place. Just
the town's real, but it's not Santa Maria. It's a different name.
But this is obviously something that John Carpenter had in mind after part 1. He wanted to go off in a direction of just individual stories and move totally away from Michael Myers. I don't know how much of an influence he had in getting this off the ground, because
I think he had the most. I think he had the most influence over picking. Him and Deborah Hill had a lot of influence making this film, because they went to Stonehenge, and they're like, what do you think we think what Stonehenge was used for? And they're like, cult will use it. And they tasked English film writer quick, why am I blanking on his name? This isn't good. Sorry, bad stream, folks. Oh, I'm kicking myself. Nigel Neal, the Quatermass writer of the
Oh,
Quatermass.
I know that name. I know that
Yeah,
name. Did he? You know what? He may have directed a film I recommended for Piz to watch called The Stone Tapes.
probably.
Yeah, it's an early 70s film, and it's about like how um recording ghosts. It's like using electrical equipment to like pick up ghosts, and it's like how ghosts are basically like I can't remember. I remember it was just I remember really enjoying it, and the guy's got something to do with Ghostwatch, if I remember rightly. You know, the
Let
early
me see.
'90s, the BBC. Sure, he's got something to do with Ghostwatch. I'm
Uh,
sure
I don't
there's
see anything listed, but for Ghostwatch,
he's,
I don't see anything.
he's definitely. I'm sure it's got something to do with the Stone tapes, though.
Hmm.
Like from 72, 73. But
But ultimately, it was apparently they said his script was too nasty. It was too dark. That's all. That's the only way Carpenter and Tommy Lee Wallace said it was way too dark. And I'm really curious how dark it was.
yeah, considering this one involves killing like hundreds of thousands of kids.
Yeah, I know,
You
right?
know,
I'm really curious how dark that his version was because Tommy Lee Wallace rewrote his script. He polished. They gave him money. He wrote an initial draft, and they're like, it's great, but no studio would ever buy it. So Tommy Lee Wallace went in and rewrote it, and I like this film a lot. I really enjoy
yeah,
this film. This
yeah.
film, like for years, I've been told never to avoid this one. So many people in my life have told me to stay away from Halloween 3. It's a dumb movie, didn't involve Michael Myers, and I took their word for it. And it wasn't until like 2010 I finally got around to watching it myself. I'm like, you know what? I want to see this movie. You know what? I got to see this. It's got to be better than those two Rob Zombie movies,
Well,
which
you're
had
not wrong there.
they're just released. So I'm
Yeah,
just like, I gotta see what this Halloween 3 that everyone tells me to avoid. That's apparently the worst. So I went and saw it. And I'm like, oh, what the what the hell? All those assholes tell me not to watch. This is like, I love this movie. This movie's great. I love the cult aspect. The I love the supernatural tint to this film. This film is for me, man. I love this film. I enjoy the hell out of this movie.
in terms of soundtrack, John Carpenter's just like knocked it out the park with this
Oh
one.
yeah,
This is
this is one of his best scores, if you ask me.
incredible. Yeah,
Top five easily for
yeah,
me.
that sim score. The opening scene where the guy's just trying to escape, and it's like that like man in it's like that Man in Black scenario almost, like that, because obviously they are
Yeah,
like sort of,
they're all wearing
and
suits.
yeah, just really, really. I mean, maybe not to the level of creepiness as Michael Myers, but certainly not far off.
Still creepy.
Yeah,
They're
and
guys
obviously
in
this.
suits.
I
Creepy enough.
mean, he manages to release the car, and it crushes him, and he just you look at him, and this is obviously not a normal guy.
Yeah.
And I think there's a scene like 20 minutes, just later, where he just removes his head, and you get that gush of just that. Such a good scene.
Yeah. And then one of them sets himself on fire
Yeah,
after he goes into the hospital. That
yeah,
was this. I
yeah.
like this film a lot. I'm pretty biased. I know a lot of people don't like this film, but I don't care. This film is for me.
No, it probably needed a break from Michael Myers, to be honest with you. If they'd never gone back, obviously the diminishing returns on this film, I think, panicked the studio, and
Hmm.
that's why they made. I mean, they waited 6 years for Halloween 4, but this if this had been a bigger success, who knows? If this had been a major success, we may never have gone back to Michael Myers. It may have just gone off and into its own universe, but
Yeah.
you know, which would have been it would have been a good thing and a bad thing, because there's still obviously like some of the later Michael Myers movies. But in terms of like getting like Tom Atkins,
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I like that
yeah,
we get a middle-aged hero in this film.
yeah, and obviously he gets
You wouldn't see that in a movie made in the past 15 years. You would not see a
no,
middle-aged, unless it's an indie
no,
film. You're not going to
yeah,
see a middle-aged guy be the main star.
yeah. He
And
has
he's
sex with a 20-year-old,
well, if
and
Tom
she
Cruise
was
was if
gorgeous in that film.
Tom Cruise is doing that still.
Yeah, yeah. That the scene. That scene where she gets out of the shower is like etched in my brain.
Oh man,
He's gone out to get groceries, and she's just getting a shower, and she goes out and she's all over him. And I'm thinking, you lucky son of a bitch. You're like,
it's
and
Tommy Atkins.
I know. Well,
Yeah,
it's the same. It's the same in The Fog. I mean, he's getting it on with
Jamie
Jamie,
Lee.
and it's like how the age gap between them
He's
two
a
is
stud,
probably.
man. He's a stud.
Obviously, there's a fantastic scene. Just as that the sex scene's going on, it jumps to cuts to next door with the middle-aged woman. She's come to the town, and she's checking out the badge,
Yeah.
and then she's
She's checking
fiddling
out
around, and that's when we first become aware of just what's going on.
Gets shocked by it. Gets
Yeah.
activates the rune.
Yeah.
Was it the dust or not dust, but like what do you call like rubble, whatever? Not rubble, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The little stone pieces that are inside each of the tags. Little computer chips. Stonehenge, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is a pretty mean spirited film. Like no one's safe in this film. That's why I love. Nobody's safe, and I love the villain Colin Cochran, played by Dan O'Hurley. He's amazing. He's so good. He's so maniacal. He's like a James Bond villain, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
He's a freaking James Bond villain. I'm a big fan of that series, and it's great. He's having so much fun. Like I love how he's able to put that nice, friendly smile, but then when he starts talking about the rituals, like his whole demeanor, his whole tone goes so dark. I'm like, yes, this is so good. Oh,
anybody wearing a suit, just explaining how it's just comes across in a totally different light, doesn't it? He's just there, like all smartly dressed, and he's just casually speaking about the murder of like millions of people. And
this is part of that Carpenter cynicism, where against corporations. He's a corporate guy, head of a corporation. And it's like, yeah, we return to a theme like this, what They Live, with the whole trying to control people's minds.
Yeah.
Get rid of those kids.
Well,
Which those masks are awesome. Those masks are great.
Oh,
great design. They look really cool.
There's the whole like in Halloween 2 where the kids get the candy laced with like razor blades.
Yeah.
And it's the whole people say that's why Halloween 2 existed in the same universe as 3, and the candy they had, it was connected to Silver Shamrock, and it's just YouTube, conspiracy theories about the Halloween franchise and how it ties in the Silver Shamrock Company with the rest of the universe, because obviously with Halloween 3, Michael Myers doesn't exist in that universe, because you see him on the TV screen, when Tom Atkins is in the bar, but a lot of people try to shoehorn it into the wider Halloween world by saying that the whole scene with the candies with the razor blades is connected. That was Silver Shamrock's doing, and they were responsible for it. But which is a nice little thing to. It's nice to think of that, but whether I don't think they were really thinking of that at the time, obviously. But it's like with YouTube videos and people go into deep dives about film series and maybe go too deep into them sometimes. But in terms of the ending, obviously Tom Atkins is on the phone and he's ringing up all the the TV stations to
Oh,
get
a
them to
great
take.
ending, dark ending.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how realistic it is that every single TV station will be showing the same. Why would they take it down? Because some crazed madman is on the phone saying, "Take this down." Like they wouldn't do that. They would
Well,
just
he says tell him it's like a bomb will go off or something if it'll activate like a bomb or something. So kind of a terror threat. That's that. I bought it. I bought it. I don't have too many problems with this film. This film is pretty great to me. Like thumbs up. Halloween
yeah,
3 sees a
definitely.
witch. I know.
I mean, it's no,
It's a strange thing to be able to call people, but like it was simpler times. People were a little bit more trustworthy back then.
yeah.
I could buy it.
I mean, in terms of the entire franchise as a whole, it's certainly it sits somewhere in the middle for me. I mean, I certainly wouldn't. It's a lot better than and take the rest of them. I'm talking about every single film they've released so far. Certainly a lot better than Rob Zombie's films. It's definitely better than Resurrection. It's more enjoyable than H2O, and obviously it just sits for me below, maybe 1 and 2, and maybe 4. But for a film that goes completely off in a completely different direction, it's got a lot of love, and a lot of franchises where in a series does do something completely different. A lot of the time, people hate it, but I mean, I don't. I think most people. I think a lot of the hardcore fans really like 3. I don't. I don't. It's not. It doesn't divide opinion. A lot of people will hate 6. A lot of people will love 6. A lot of people love 4, and some people don't particularly like 4. With 3, it's like I don't think people have. A lot of people like it, but I don't really hear anybody say they hate it. It seems to be quite a sort of a
It's gained its audience. It's definitely
yeah,
gained an audience over the years. It's still not beloved, but it's kind of like Elm Street 2. It's both films
yeah,
were pretty hated when they first came out. Now they both have gained pretty good following. But for me, it's up there in the top. It's right below. It's probably right below for me. It's right below the first one. Honestly, it goes
yeah,
1, 3, 2.
yeah.
I love it. On to
So
4, Michael
what's up?
returns.
Oh, yeah. Directed by Dwight Little, and this is George P. Wilbur as Michael.
Mm-hmm.
And this is obviously the beginnings of the Fawn trilogy. And
Yep.
obviously they moved. This was filmed in
Shot.
Salt Lake City, so obviously apparently it was too expensive to film in Los Angeles
Yeah.
at this point, so they had to move to Salt Lake City, and it's visibly different to the first 2
Car.
films.
Yep. Carpenter. And Deborah Hill are gone. Most of the producers, it's just Mustafa Akkad. He's the only
Yeah,
really from the originals
yeah.
who's really back. And the other composer, you know who I'm talking about. Why am I blanking on his name right now? Alan Howarth. Alan Howarth.
How
Yeah, he's taken sole reins over the score.
it was still a
You want
decent
to go?
score.
You want to go first?
I was just going to make a point of saying even though this made 18 million, which was an increase on 3, it was twice the budget of 3. So you could say it made more money, but it still cost double 3 made. So it's if you compare it to 2 was half the budget of 4 and made 7 million more. Obviously, I'm not whether that's taking into account inflation at the time. I don't know, but still a massive drop from the original film. I mean, this is 10 years later, and I'm surprised that this didn't do better at the box office. With
It did pretty
Michael,
well compared to its budget, right?
well, yeah, 5 million budget, 18 million at the box office. But I mean, obviously, if you compare that to 2, which cost 2.5 million and made 25 million,
Mm-hmm.
it's still a fair. It's still, and obviously, don't. It's ridiculous comparing it to 1 because 1 obviously just did stupid money. But I thought
Yeah.
maybe it would have done even like slightly better than that, bearing in mind that Michael had been away for 7 years. I don't know whether
Well,
to
I
equate
don't
that
think
to the
it
fact.
had. I don't think it had the hardcore, like mass audiences that go for the Halloween movies now. Uh, I don't think like people liked the first two films a lot, and they weren't sure, and they didn't like the third one. The third one was a big sore spot for a lot of people, so they weren't really sure. Are they playing a trick? Probably a lot of people thought this was going to be like a Friday the 13th Part 5. Like they were thinking, are they hoodwinking us? Are they gonna trick us? Trick or treat? Are they gonna trick us with this film? So maybe there's just some trepidation. I'm not exactly sure it wasn't alive then. So,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I don't. But this film did good enough, to warrant to do another film. So
Well, I mean, they rushed out 5 within 12 months. I mean,
yeah.
there was because it did do, I think, better than what they were thinking. That's why there was a real rush to get a sequel out. But
Hmm.
a lot of people comment on the opening scene, with the opening credits, say it really, even more than any other film, really emphasizes that feeling of, well, you say the fall, we say autumn, you know, like that, but that feeling of like the build up to Halloween
Hmm.
with the leaves and
Yeah.
whatnot.
The opening is great for this film.
Yeah, definitely. More, it feels it's so visibly different though than to Haddonfield from obviously Pasadena.
Yeah. It's
This feels a lot more rural
much
because
more
obviously,
flat.
yeah, you can tell it's not a built up.
No.
I mean, they did a good job with the first two films, especially with Halloween one, because
Hmm.
it didn't feel, you would never feel, if someone had said to me, watching the first Halloween film, oh, this was filmed, just 20 minutes from downtown LA, you'd be like, no, no way. It does feel like a suburban neighborhood, but
Yeah, this one definitely feels rural, like a rural
yeah,
part of America.
yeah,
I like the setting of this film. I like, Daniel Harris is good. Donald Pleasance is fun. My big problems with this film is I hate the look of it. It's so flat. It's so
mm,
like there's like no life to like the film just looks so bland. Like it's just so it's so stock. Like it's not it doesn't exude that kind of cinematic feel. It feels very stripped back. And I love that grand look that Carpenter, Cundy had, and that's my big problem with this film. It just looks so. I'm just not a big fan of the look of this film. That's my biggest gripe is I can't, and I don't really. The mask in this film looks terrible.
yeah.
Oh, the mask looks bad in this film. Uh,
It's I don't really understand where where they came up with this mask anyway. It's such a
oh, it looks terrible.
it's. I mean, I know the original mask, it's meant to like give off an expressionless look, but this takes it to the takes it too far. It's just like just a white piece of shit with two eye holes. I mean,
it
it doesn't give you
no,
anything at all.
it
It's
has no texture. It is not textured whatsoever. It's so bland looking. It's just so
yeah. And
it's
Michael,
so artificial looking. I can't stand the mask in this film. I think it looks terrible. George P. Wilbur, he's too bulky. He's too bulky
yeah,
in this film.
I was gonna say, Sean says that my favorite is Rob Zombie's Halloween. It's not. Sean's just taking the piss. I couldn't remember whether it was this one or part 5 where they had an issue with his weight, and you've just confirmed now, because I knew it was one, or it was this or 5, and there was issues where they had to use different angles and stuff to try and to hide
Yeah.
the fact that he was like slightly overweight. And it's like, well, why didn't they just get somebody who wasn't overweight? It's like, is it
Well,
that difficult? It's
he
how,
had to deal with stunts too. He was doing the stunts as well. With like the truck and stuff. With the getting on
yeah,
top of the house. I could see it. Like him. Like he was, a lot of people would not be doing like on the roof stuff. A lot of people would not do that, even with a controlled set. Felt like it's not a controlled set; it's a location. So it's like,
Well,
I
there
can
was,
see
I
why
think
he took it, because he's probably was like, yeah, well, I'm getting paid. I'm going to do this. But the kills are good in this film. I enjoy the kills. They're pretty decent. They're a little ridiculous. I like the moment where Loomis goes into the gas station, into the little diner. That was a great that was a great visual. That was that as far as visuals goes, that was my favorite visual was Donald Pleasant's turning around and he sees Michael all the way back, kind of hiding, standing at the back of the kitchen. That was cool. That was probably the best shot in the film, in my opinion.
The one scene that like completely baffled me when I first saw the film is, it's like the introduction of the Man in Black, and he gets off the bus.
That's in 5. That's in 5.
Oh, sorry, 5. Oh,
that's not in this one.
4 and 5 just
they can't meld together.
They do meld together. Because they were so close together, because they tonally and visually they look very, very similar as well.
I'm gonna disagree with that. I think 5 looks a little better. As far as like as cinematography, I think it looks a little sharper, a little bit more, have that a little more flair to it. But Danielle Harris is great, probably one of the best child actresses ever.
I love great. Rachel in this film as well. Is fantastic.
Yeah. Everybody else is pretty boring in my opinion. This film, this film it's okay. I don't love this film and I don't hate it. I'm fine with it. It's a decent slasher, a late 80s slasher. That's about all I've got to say.
I mean, it's hard to disagree. I mean, I do like the kill with the
shotgun.
I think the shotgun. Yeah, that
was cool.
I like the idea that Michael, he takes something that's obviously like a firearm and turns it into like, you know what I mean? He turns it, because Michael obviously never uses any. Yeah, he never uses any weapons which involve fire. He doesn't use it.
Projectiles.
So he just takes it and turns it into something else. And it's a bit of a. I do like the. There's a little bit of nudity in there, it cuts away at the last minute, to see where she's supposed to like take a bra off, and it just cuts away, which is a bit of a tease. But you don't get that you certainly don't get that in new horror films anymore. It just seems to like you don't seem to get any nudity anymore, and like you certainly don't get in the new Halloween films, but
definitely not.
But I mean, the thing with me as well with 4 as well, it's
we just lost most of our audience.
It's clinging onto this. It's clinging onto this lockdown of the Laurie Strode connection as well, and it's always got to go back to Laurie, no matter what happens down the line, no matter where we go with this franchise.
Gotta go with
it always goes back to Laurie, and it doesn't matter if she's in it or she's not in it. We always have to go back to Laurie, and maybe it just needs, I don't know, maybe it just needs to be a complete hard reboot and take it back to the beginning, but then just bring new characters in. But I don't know.
All right, let's skim over to 5. I like the look of the film, and that's about it. This one's acceptable. I can watch it, but I'm not like, I don't think about this film. Like I don't like, I mean, Michael's look in this film is kind of weird. It's slightly better than the last one, I think, but not great. There's some good kills.
The best thing about this film is the I do like the opening scene where obviously it shows a flashback to part 4 when he falls down like the mine shaft, isn't it?
Yeah, they show an extra shot of a guy throwing a dynamite.
Yeah. And he just rolls down this river, and then this hobo takes him in for like 12 months, and then Michael just kills him.
Yep.
all that hard work. It's just like, if you take a guy in who's like got a mask on, who tries to kill you, and then collapses, would you really spend the next year nursing him back to health?
Because you wonder, why is he get his ass up?
Yeah, you question why he's got a mask on, why he's got a massive knife, Why did he try to stick it in me?
Why's it got all these bullet holes in them?
Yeah, exactly. So
What's
Michael
going
just,
on here?
offs this guy, and then we
Yeah.
do get the introduction of the Man in Black.
Yep.
My bad.
Man
It is in
Black
this
shows up.
So it's this film where I was completely confused as to what was going on, because he's introduced and you're just like,
What?
who's this guy? Like, who is he? What's going on? And it's just a very, very, very strange film. It's the kills are average at best. Michael, he's slightly better than George P. Wilbur, I think.
Yeah,
The
he's in
mask is slightly better. Don Shanks,
Don Shanks. Yeah, he's in good shape.
yeah, but he doesn't. He still moves in just a slightly off way compared to, like, certainly. I mean, looking at the James Dew Courtney in the last two films, he just nails the look of
Yeah,
Michael better
exactly. Yeah.
than anybody. Well, apart from obviously the original film, and yeah, this again, if Michael doesn't move in the way I'm used to, like in the first two films, well, maybe not the second film, but in that first film, it just takes me out of the film slightly, and it just seems slightly comical. He loses that sort of elusiveness of the first film, where he'll just disappear. And he genuinely feels like, a genuine boogeyman, and it's just a little bit awkward in this film.
Yeah.
Everything about him, and obviously killing off Rachel as well was just
That was strange.
a stupid decision. I mean,
Very strange decision.
for shock value, okay, but she was like the most likable character in Part 4. So to kill her off, to me, was just, I don't know. I would have liked to. I would like to have seen her survive.
Mhm.
Donald Pleasence in this film is just completely crazy now. To this point,
Die.
yeah, he's the jump from 4 to 5. It's only 12 months. Take
Yeah,
like 12 months. He goes completely insane in the
mental.
space of 12 months.
Goes mental, baby.
I'm not. I can't quite understand what was in it for Donald Pleasence to do this film. I mean, by this point, he must
Probably
have been getting to his.
just work. Just
Yeah,
something
but
to
I
do.
mean, he was like, must have been like getting close to 70 at this point. I think he died in 96
Yeah.
or 90. And I think at that point he must have been like mid to late 70s.
Mhm.
So at this point he was like 70, and he looked older than 70, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd think he'd have plenty of money in the bank. And you just wonder, like, what? Maybe just actors want to act, and it doesn't matter
Yeah,
what script.
it's what he's used to. You probably didn't want to just sit around all day. Go stir crazy. Yeah, this film, it's fine. I can watch it. I don't have any real giant complaints against it, but I'm not in love with this film. It's fine. I know a lot of people are gonna be pissed.
I think a lot of people think the same way we do. Really, it's
Yeah.
it's
It's okay.
I think when people like rank the Halloween films, 5 is usually just above Rob Zombie's Halloween 1 and Resurrection.
Yeah. I think more people. Yeah, you're probably right.
I can't see this ever gaining any sort of like cult appeal. Maybe.
Cola Thorn.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. The one girl, that one Tina, a little too damn obnoxious. But she was animated, so she had character, I guess. But the stupid cops, all the goofy, playing like the silly music with the
Yeah.
cops wandering around.
yeah. Yeah.
That was so
That
bad.
was just so.
Oh, so bad.
But the one scene as well, which stands out to me as well, is it's just as Michael corners Jamie, and she's like lying in like the coffin. Is it?
Yeah.
He's standing over, and then she says, "Oh, take off your mask." And
She
she says,
says
"Oh,
she says uncle, and he takes his mask
Oh
off.
yeah. And he says
He sheds
you look
he
like
sheds
me.
a tear.
Yeah. So and he says you look like me to him. At
Yeah.
that point, any sort of like
It's like,
mystique,
what?
and he's just like he's crying now.
What are we doing here?
And then he obviously Loomis walks in and he just puts the mask back on and just goes crazy
Goes
again.
back to town.
How did that film? I can't even remember how that film ended. Like in terms of like him.
He gets locked away. Loomis
Oh, and
beats the
then
crap.
yeah, sorry, yeah,
Loomis drops a net on him, and he starts beating him with a 2x4. And then
yeah,
the
and this,
cops come and pick him up, and then
and
the Man in
then
Black springs
yeah,
in.
that's it. Yeah, I totally forgot how the film ended. But that takes us nicely onto Halloween 6.
Here we go.
Obviously, this is a 6-year jump now. So, I mean, what was the? Do you know what the reason was for the 6-year jump? Was it just a case of they did?
Uh,
It was just it made no. I think it was to do with the fact that the late 80s was kind of the
well,
death of
it
the
got
slasher
bought by.
film, and
This was Miramax, right? This was the first one by Miramax.
yeah,
Yeah, this was Miramax. Harvey Weinstein was buying up horror franchises left and right. He bought Hellraiser. He was developing Scream at this time. He was getting Wes Craven to do stuff. Miramax, The Crow. They had The Crow, so that he was definitely going in for like horror stuff, horror projects. It's just like, why not? Let's get Michael Myers. And
yeah, because this. I mean, this was released during that sort of really, the early to mid 90s. There was just nothing going on with horror films. It was occasionally,
it was
you'd
pretty
get a
barren,
film.
wasn't it?
Oh, it was terrible. You had I think Jason
Even
Goes to Hell
even
in
fiction was
yeah,
even pretty barren. Horror fiction. It's like, what happened?
yeah, yeah. I think that's the thing. One of the reasons why there was that 6-year delay as well is like at the end of the 80s, going into 1990. I think 1990 we started going towards a lot more like psychological horror. Like Silence of the Lambs. It got a lot
Yeah,
more serious. That sort of like comic book
Misery.
style.
Misery is a big hit in
Yeah.
1990.
It got a lot more sort of serious, a lot more like gritty in terms of like
Yeah,
more real world horror with like real serial killers rather than these like sort of like masked comic book style,
yeah.
fantasy style
Because
serial
because
killers.
kind of like Jason pretty much ended in the early
89.
90s.
Well, yeah,
Well,
and
when was Goes to Hell? Was that
that was
93?
93. 93,
Yeah.
yeah.
So they attempted, New Line attempted to do another Friday. They attempted to do 91 with, they 94 with Elm Street, New
That new,
Nightmare.
yeah,
And I guess they just didn't make a big headway. They were just kind of like, audiences were not interested.
yeah. I mean, in terms like obviously Halloween 6 came out in 95. If that film had dropped, in 97 maybe after Scream had been released, it could have been a far bigger
Hit.
hit.
It
Because
probably
I
would
mean,
have been hit then.
yeah, 'cause I'm just looking at the box office for this. This was did 15 million, but it was cost
Well,
5 million.
ooh, ooh,
So very
dang.
big budgets, and so it made 10 million overall in the States in terms of profit. But in
Now we
terms of
asked
like,
why Don Pleasance was in the last one. Why the hell is he in this movie?
I don't
He
know.
is so
He,
old. He's literally dying in this film.
yeah. Well,
Like,
he died literally months after the film was made, wasn't it?
yeah,
I mean, he died in
jeez,
'96. This was obviously released in '95. He's probably filming through '94, '95.
yeah.
I mean, he must have known didn't have long left. It's not
I
as
don't
if he
know.
was. It's not, well, maybe, but it's not like as he was in his last couple of years. He was making a masterpiece, and he had to get
Yeah,
this film made before he died. He was making Halloween 6. It's like it's hardly the sort of film that you well, I've got to get this film made. It's not like it's not exactly Psycho, is it? Or one of the greats of horror history.
yeah.
But in
All
terms
right.
of
So you're a big fan of this one, right?
No, I don't mind it. I'm not like a massive fan.
Because I forget half of what happens in this film. Aside from the main thing I always remember is Paul Rudd's acting is he's so bad in this film. He's atrocious. I don't know what
He
he's
ju-
doing. He's doing like a weird southern accent. It's like, what are you doing?
I mean, I don't know where this film is. I forgot to research where this film was set, where it was made, where it was actually filmed, because this again looks different to
I think this is
four and
filmed.
five.
I think this is filmed in the same area as 4 and 5. I
All
think
right,
part of it for sure.
it's got a slightly different look. It's got a more
Yeah, it's got a
like
nice. It looks good. It looks good.
it's got like a more gritty look. It looks like a colder, harsher feel to it. I don't know. It's um, Paul Rudd spends a lot of time looking out of a window and just
He,
pouting at the camera. He doesn't really.
he's so bad in this. He's horrible in this movie. The Cold of Thorn. I never cared about the Cold of Thorn. I'm like, it makes no sense because he ends up just killing all the cult members at the end of the damn movie.
Yeah,
Spoilers. He just starts just slaughtering all the people of the cult. It's like you were just standing there hanging out with them. What the hell's going on here? Like they don't explain. Like this movie's a mess in my opinion. Like there's so much that happens. It's just like, wait, what? Wait, why did that happen? What's going on there?
I
Why
mean
the
the
hell
first.
are the Strodes moving into Michael Myers'
Oh,
house?
and the
What's going
stroke.
on with that?
The dad.
Oh, biggest asshole in
I hate.
film history.
Oh, at least that was a satisfying kill. He was so annoying in this film. Holy shit.
Yeah,
I mean, I like the first 10 minutes. You know, the whole scene with like trying to protect the baby from Michael, and the whole trying to escape and all that. But it's just, with the exception of like the opening 10 minutes and a couple of scenes in between, it's just dull. I mean,
I
as I say,
forget half of what happens in this damn film.
well, I mean, to be fair, I mean, I've done the live commentaries for every film, this year, and I can't remember half the stuff that happens in this film because
I can't either. It's been a while since I've seen this.
it's when I've done like live commentaries, the first film, I was kind of engaged with the chat, but was doing a full like breakdown of every scene and what I thought about it.
Yeah.
By part six, I was just basically talking to the chat and barely looking at the film because it's just
It's
it's
not very engaging. It's not an engaging film. It looks good. I'll give it that. It looks really good. The music's good, but the writing is terrible in this film. The writing is all over the place. Like the kills are great. The kills are great. Yeah,
they
this
definitely
is.
they definitely upped the gore in this film.
Oh
I
yeah,
think for the kills, they definitely Mike, with the exception of the new film, this is probably the most brutal Michael's been
yeah.
in any Halloween film.
But like all the people are so forgettable. Aside from that asshole dad, you forget. Like you just remember Paul Rudd because it's Paul Rudd. He's so
Yeah,
famous now.
yeah.
Donald Pleasance is just kind of wobbling from scene to scene. This movie's. I'm gonna say this movie's. This is the first Halloween movie. I'm gonna say this one's bad. I think this one's pretty bad. I'm not a
I've
big fan.
not.
I'm
Have you
not a
seen
fan of this film.
Have you seen the
Uh,
producer's cut?
yeah, I've seen it.
I've not seen the producer's cut.
It's slightly better, I guess.
But then you've got the whole weird thing with this film, haven't you? With it gets into like where Michael's impregnated. Give,
Oh, that's
and
weird.
it's like what? That's
Incest.
what? Like
Like
Michael having sex?
the
No.
writing is slightly more coherent in that version, but that's all I'll give it. But otherwise, this is a weird, bad film, man. Like I can't defend this one.
Let's move on
Yeah, let's move
because
on.
I can remember a hell of a lot more about H2O than I
H2O,
can
let's
about.
go. This is my first one I saw.
It's like 4, 5, and 6. They just kind of all merge into one for me, and I always struggle to remember like. See,
Details.
so I'm constantly checking myself to like to think well, I don't want to make a fool of myself and say, oh, this, because I think, is that the right film? Because
Yeah.
because they just all merge into one. 1, 2, 3 are so distinctively separate. And
Yes.
H2O obviously is just, I can remember everything about that film. There's just, for whatever reason, I'm not saying it's a great film. We'll get into that now, but obviously 98 totally does away with anything after part 2.
Yep.
But Laurie's back. She's like 40 years old at this point. Josh Hartnett's teenage
Ugh,
son.
the
Got
worst
the
part of
3
the movie.
friends. Yeah. I always remember that is Josh Hartnett's hair. It's probably one of the most famous things.
Apparently, like, he said he kept messing it up. Whenever
Yeah,
they would clean him up, he would just mess it back up. It's like, I
he's
don't like.
apparently
I've never liked Josh Hartnett.
no.
Everything I've seen him, I'm like, you're a bad actor. You're
Yeah.
terrible.
Apparently said,
Why was he a thing for like a good 6-7 years? He was like a thing up until like 2004, 2005. It's like
that's
it's
good
just
looking.
because his pre-boy looks.
Yeah.
That's all I
Yeah,
had.
apparently he said apparently when he did try to straighten, he went, no, this is how someone like me would wear my hair.
Yeah.
This is how we wear it. And so he went, okay then. But this film,
It's okay.
I mean, it's when I watched it again recently, I always make the mistake of watching a film and then after a year or two, I think, oh, I actually enjoyed it more than what I did, and I watch it again and go, no, it wasn't that good. And I like the look of the film. I don't like the set. I don't like the Californians, like that sort of.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, this film is actually set in California, not just
Yeah.
made in California, and it looks like it's set in California. It looks like it's
Yeah.
made in California. It's very bright, very colourful. In terms of like the setting,
It doesn't get that fall feeling at all.
no. And in terms of like a school shut down for like Halloween should like make for a more creepy environment, but I don't think they make full use of the whole.
It's too open.
set.
It's too open.
Yeah.
The sets are. Like the set. It's just way too open. It feels way too like there's so much space that you can escape from Michael in this. It just
Yeah.
the other films had that gritty, confound tightness to them. Like you couldn't get away from him. This film, I don't like the setting at all. Really, well, I think they misused the setting. I think they could have, like you said, they could have done the setting, but they just didn't do it justice. If you ask me.
They did take a lot of time building the characters up. I mean, you can often make a complaint about a lot of horror films where characters are just introduced and then killed.
Yeah.
This film takes, I don't think, possibly with the exception of the first film, no film in the series has spent so long getting us to know the characters. It's a good hour. I think it's nearly an hour before anybody's, any one of the main characters is killed in this film.
Yeah.
In terms of, you've got Josh Hart, you've got and he's got his buddy Josh Hart. You've got the girl who was in, she's a very famous actress now, the blonde one,
Michelle Williams.
She's in, and obviously her friend. Those 4 characters are in it for a good hour before any of them are killed off.
Yeah, LL Cool J.
And he doesn't die either. So it's like but and it's very slow in introducing Michael to the film because for the first like 45 minutes or so, he's just seen as like an apparition. She sees him in a reflection, and because she's obviously got a drinking problem and she's suffering from PTSD. You're wondering, is she seeing things? She's wondering whether she's seeing things.
Yeah.
And it's a very, very long time before he's introduced into the film. But that doesn't really make me appreciate the characters anymore. Then whereas in the first film, you get an introduction to them, you grow a fondness for them. I didn't care about, apart from Jamie Lee, I didn't give a damn about the four young characters. I had no interest in them. I didn't really care whether they lived or died. So it was, you know what I mean? It was just, it's all well and good giving us this slow introduction and letting us get to know the characters. But if you've got no empathy for them, what's the point?
I know, right?
It's not going to make any odds. And the kills are so bloodless in this film.
Yeah, the kills are pretty.
There's no blood.
It's pretty tame. It's pretty tame. This movie's fine. It's acceptable. It's I kind of I put this slightly above 5, definitely above 6, way better than 6. Yeah, this movie's fine. It's fine. I know I don't have a whole lot to say, but like it's just like I thought the scene in the bathroom with the mother and daughter, and he goes and steals their car. I thought that was cool. That was probably one of the few scenes that's pretty memorable in my opinion.
Yeah. I forgot about that scene because you don't see him, do you? You just see you know it's him, but you don't really see anything, and then they just come
Yeah,
out and it's just gone.
yeah,
The
they
one
steal
thing,
it.
yeah, the one thing obviously that I think they did right in this film was the ending
Yeah,
because I think
the the
that was a good
showdown's great. The whole
yeah.
showdown between him and Jamie Lee, that was pretty fun. That was entertaining.
That was the perfect way to end. If you were gonna sit down and say, right, anything
This
after
is
two
it.
no longer exists. It's one, two, and this film. The perfect way to finally kill off Michael is to chop his head off because I don't care how supernatural he is. Nobody's coming back from a decapitated head. And obviously, now I don't know. I think I've asked Lorne this question. I don't know at what point they decided, maybe during filming, they knew that this wasn't going to be the last film and they were going to make another
No,
film after this.
yeah, yeah, that was yeah. Jamie Lee Curtis was pissed about that. She talked about that. They're like, we're gonna make another one.
Yeah, because that was the perfect way to end everything. You know,
It
Jamie
was.
obviously comes back, finally kills him once and for all, chops his head off, and
And get
then they
some
do that.
resolution.
Yeah, do that.
And then we get the worst of the original Halloween films, Halloween Resurrection.
Yeah,
This
I
movie
think this.
sucks.
Yeah,
This movie
well,
sucks.
obviously, you know, Jamie Lee was she contractually obligated to
Yeah,
return
she
for this
was.
film,
She was.
so that's why she's only in the first 10 minutes. I'm assuming,
Oh yeah, yep. They killed her
but
off.
the whole
That's so
the whole
bad.
switch, the whole.
Her death is so bad in this film. It's so poorly
But
handled.
the whole idea that he switched. Why would Michael? He's like a psychopathic killer. Why would he even bother to switch masks
Why?
with someone?
How would he have the fortitude to think of to do that?
Yeah,
Seriously,
I mean,
this movie stretches credibility and logic. Logic goes out the window for Resurrection. This
they
movie's
do.
so stupid.
They, the one thing of that the kill with Laurie is at least they do use the whole mask swapping as an incentive, for her to
For try to
hesitate.
check it. Yeah.
Yeah, that was one thing that was maybe goes in its favor, but I just
And like the most incompetent security guards ever in this film
yeah.
for the mental institution. Like
But
what the hell? They're like
it's like
they're
it,
more concerned about defending the freaking beverage, the freaking oh what the with the beverage the
yeah, yeah.
you know what I'm talking about. Why can I not
Yeah,
think?
yeah.
The snacks, the snack machine. We're too concerned about the snack machine. We don't give a shit if the patients are all walking around, but that snack
Yeah,
machine,
yeah.
like it's like
That's how
what the
that.
so bad. And the one guy goes, oh, slips on the blood. It's like, oh, this
But
was.
the whole idea that like after Michael's killed Laurie, that like
He
you
goes back
think
home,
that's job done now. So he's probably sitting around thinking, well,
gives the knife away,
what do we do now? I've
goes to
finally
eat
killed off
rats.
my out. Yeah. So they're doing a reality TV show in
Oh
my house.
god,
Are they? I'll go there and then obviously we just get this totally unrelated.
Dangertainment, baby.
Yeah, with people
Oh,
who.
Busta Rhymes and Tyra Banks.
I mean, has Tyra Banks ever acted in any film before this, or Busta Rhymes? I mean,
Busta
I've
Rhymes, I
never seen
think
him in
showed up in
anything.
some. I think Busta Rhymes showed up in some stuff before. I think. I don't know, but yeah, we're gonna do the whole live stream thing, and
This what might have
this,
worked better in a more modern setting because it's 2002 or 2003.
yeah,
we didn't even have like fast streaming services back in them days. You know, it was all a
No,
dial up connection. So I'm not quite sure how that worked. You know what I mean? It's like because I distinctly remember. I remember internet in 2002, and you couldn't live
I
stream
did
anything.
too.
It
I remember
was, you know, it was
just trying to go to a web page took forever.
yeah. YouTube didn't exist. That's for sure. It's like
Yep.
so. I'm not quite sure who were the people with this insanely fast internet speeds who could like live stream, you know, all this going on. But
Damn, they must be
this
connected right into the
this
server.
yeah, this film's just a mess.
This movie is rubbish, to use that term.
Totally.
On your...
I don't remember a thing about the characters. I only as I say, it. You could break this film down into two parts. The first 10 minutes and Buster Rhyme basically kicking Michael Myers and saying
Oh,
trick or treat.
trick
There's
or
really
treat,
nothing else,
motherfucker. Oh, this
and
movie's
even the
so bad. Like, what were they thinking with this film? Like, it's
uh,
so inept. Like the characters are so one dimensional. It's what was going on here?
even the final scene of he's like on he's just like on a mortuary boat, wherever it is, and he
Yeah,
just
it's on
waits. It's just like it's so that's
such a
no, there's no even
cheap jump scare at the end.
there's no resolution to
What
we don't get this.
happens?
It's just so he's just gonna get up and start killing. And obviously, I don't know what their plans were at that point. Whether they were thinking, "Oh, we can do another sequel out of this," but oh my god,
I
it's
have
an
nothing
insult
nice
to
to say.
the
I just have nothing nice to say about this film. Like, out of all of them, every single film before, I was able to at least, pick something that I thought was all right. This
yeah.
movie's this movie's bad. Like, oh, it's bad. Oh,
I'd like to. I mean, doing it like a live stream like this, talking about that something like the Halloween franchise. If every film had been like Halloween, as good as Halloween,
yeah, this would be a lot of fun, wouldn't it?
well, we'd probably have to break it into 3 different live streams over
I
2
know,
hours long
right?
because we probably spent you know
I think we
half
spent
an
most
hour
of the
talking
time
about the first film,
the
the
first
first couple of
film.
films,
We spent over half an hour, and we spent about half an hour on 2 and 3, and then
and then
after 4,
it's like
we just started skipping, going
yeah,
quickly.
after, from 4 to 6, that's when I wish I'd done my more research and tried to remember what was going on in those films. Because
Yeah, there's like the kills aren't even good in this movie. There's nothing positive to say about Resurrection. It's just a bad film. Like, that's the only thing you can say positive is it's not the Rob Zombie films.
I'd actually put Rob Zombie's Halloween 2
Yeah,
over
yeah, I
this.
would too. Yeah,
Maybe not
I
one,
guess
but
they're both pretty bad, but this movie's just terrible. Like, at least that film has, like, it looks good. It has a
yeah.
great look to it. This film has nothing. There's nothing good about Resurrection.
Are you not planning on watching Halloween Kills? And
If I ever do see, I'll probably rent it like Redbox or something like that.
because I mean, I don't know, Peacock TV obviously streaming it, but I don't even know what Peacock TV is. So
I don't know, maybe.
I went to cinema. I went to cinema to see it. So, but I mean, Peacock TV. I don't think we can't even get that in the UK that I'm aware of. So,
Mm,
but it's worth
yeah,
checking out.
it's worth checking out. Well, hopefully it's better
It's
than this Drac
oh,
we just talked about.
it's a lot
Oh
better than
man,
Resurrection.
Resurrection. This is the film that really soured me on this series. Like, after I saw this, I'm just like, okay, Halloween, whatever. The first 3 are good move. Well, because I didn't see 3, like I said, till years later. I saw this, shortly after I saw the original. I'm just like, wow, the quality of these movies goes down quick.
Yeah,
Like, man, it's a bad film. Like, and I don't blame anybody. Like, none of the actors. I'm not gonna be petty. But I'm gonna blame Harvey Weinstein. Fuck him. He's the reason why this film exists. He's the reason why. Yeah. Fuck
yeah.
Harvey Weinstein. I hope he's having
That's
fun
his
in
worst.
jail.
That's his worst crime. Like
Uh,
anything else he's done, his worst crime is releasing this onto the public.
this and those Hellraiser sequels, huh?
Oh, I've not watched them. I think
Oh, you're
I've only ever seen the first 3 films of the Hellraiser. I'm never a big fan of the Hellraiser
yeah.
series.
Don't go past
Seen
the
the
third
first
one.
3.
Don't
Yeah,
go past the third
that's
one.
that's where I stopped.
Yep.
I've just been watching. I've just started. Sorry, go on.
No, nothing.
No, I was going to say, just started watching the I Know What You Did Last Summer TV show
Oh yeah,
on Amazon Prime. It's okay.
it's okay.
I'm probably gonna. It's okay. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I'm
Yeah.
probably gonna do. I'm probably gonna do a live stream tomorrow night as well. So probably
Yeah.
gonna talk more about that. Gonna try and check out Chucky as well
All right.
before I go live because I've heard that's meant to be half decent. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
not.
I've heard good things about it. It's getting good word.
Jamie.
Oh, Jamie shows up at the
Jamie.
very end.
Yeah. Oh, Jamie. Oh, Jamie,
Showing
just
up at the end.
showing right at the end. I will be on tomorrow
Oh.
night as well. Yeah, so it is getting late here.
Yeah, it's getting late.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we did it. We talked about the originally Halloween films.
8.
How you feel?
I just wanted to get. I wanted to, do it. Really more of an in-depth dive on the first few films. I mean, as I say, I knew when we got to like the Fallen trilogy and like the Resurrection.
When we got
It was
to
just gonna
6,
be-
that's where I lost steam. I
Yeah,
lose steam.
yeah,
Like, it's funny how we talked a ton about the first 3 films. Like, we were like
yeah,
talking up so high.
yeah.
Man, then we get to Resurrection. It's just like, damn, what a
It's
way
almost
to.
like It's almost
what
like
a
we got past 4 and I was like, I don't even really want to talk about 5, but it's like she's got nothing. I was like, I've got nothing to say about this film, and I look like I just don't know what I'm talking about. Which, when it comes to like 5, I can't, because I genuinely can't remember much about the film,
I know, right?
even though I've seen it about probably 5 or 6 times in my life,
Yeah.
and I saw it this summer, and I just can't remember anything about it. And yet something like H2O, which is something, because I think it's because it's separate from that Fallen trilogy, because it's its own thing. I can just remember like every little thing about that film.
Yeah.
Resurrection, I can't remember a damn thing about Resurrection. You know what I mean?
That's good. Your mind's working against
Yeah,
the poison. It's
yeah.
keeping out the bad material.
But again, like Halloween Kills, like final mention. I know I've just literally just watched the film, but I think a year from now I'll remember, even if I don't watch it again for another year, I'll remember a fair number of the scenes in the film, because a lot of scenes do stick in you, right, for bad or good or bad. They do stick in your head a lot. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, there's something to say about it.
The film's generating a lot of talk, so which is a good
Yeah.
thing. It's better to be hated than everyone to be indifferent about it.
Mm-hmm. That's what everyone was. I think that's what everyone was with Curse, with 6. Everyone was kind of indifferent to that one.
Yeah,
that was his biggest Achilles heel, was just everyone was indifferent. But shit, it ain't no Resurrection, man. Oh man, this film's bad. This is like bottom 20 my least favorite films I've ever seen. I hate this film with a passion. Resurrection, it's horrible. It is horrible. Just the way Jamie Lee Curtis dies in it just pisses me off.
I think the good words to end on. This is horrible. Halloween Resurrection.
Halloween Resurrection. Thumbs down. All right. Well, thanks to everybody who stuck around and watched us. We appreciate your time. We probably pissed a lot of people off by talking shit about Halloween 6 and Resurrection.
I'll retweet the stream out for anyone who hasn't called it first time round. People might jump on.
We're very used to 2-hour mark.
Yeah.
All right.
That's what I was aiming for, 2.5 hours. So yeah, I never want to go. Yeah. I can't stream. Some people who stream for 4 hours. I just don't know how they do it.
Stream 4 hours.
Oh, I think with Piers though, because he's got a constant questions. Time can fly, but if we're just focusing on one subject, and I couldn't like do a 4-hour stream of just like talking constantly. We're just on a single subject.
We might be able to stretch Halloween 1 for about an hour, but we could probably stretch it a little longer.
Oh, definitely.
All right, well, gonna get going.
Yeah, thanks for being on board, man. And I will see.
Everyone.
Well, I'm streaming tomorrow. Whether you're going to be in the chat tomorrow, we want to jump. I'll send the link anyway if you're interested.
All right.
Gonna do like probably like a 90-minute stream. Talk about a couple of the TV shows we've been watching, and maybe talk a little bit more about. I'm watching Venom tomorrow as well, so.
Oh, there you go.
So probably mention a little bit about Venom. So anyway, thanks, man.
All right, no problem.
All right,
everyone. Take care.
See you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, I should have just ended it. Me as well. Doesn't matter. Anyway, thanks, guys. Thanks for jumping on. Thanks for Anthony, Jamie, Sean was in the chat, Dan, of course, Christian, DJ, obviously, and obviously thanks to Griffin for jumping on. And I will be live again probably tomorrow night. Bye, Jamie. Bye, Anthony. Yeah, so I'll probably be live again tomorrow night, almost certainly, be the same time, 7 p.m. Eastern, midnight UK time. Probably going to be talking, I know we did last summer, Chucky, and probably talk a little bit about Venom as well, because I'm going to go and see that tomorrow night. Anyway, guys, I will see you tomorrow. Bye.